Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. An unsolicited bill and a whole lot of awkwardness in the neighborhood. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with a turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. From I know the owner to, oh no, that's the owner. A Karen meltdown. A week ago, I filled in for a friend at a ski center where things quickly took an entertainingly absurd turn. The layout of the center is key to understanding the chaos. There are 5 lifts, family, kiddie, 2 anchor lifts, and 1 leading to the street with rails and jumps. Adjacent to the family lift where I was stationed is a sledding slope, free for people who aren't skiing. We also had snowmobiles for staff use, and mine was parked nearby. It made a distinct creaking noise when someone sat on it, which is how this whole fiasco started. I was helping a young girl onto the lift when I heard the snowmobile suspension creak. Thinking it was my coworker signaling lunchtime, I turned around only to find 2 kids about 5 or 6 years old clambering on the snowmobile and trying to start it. Me, hey, what do you think you're doing? Kid 1, we want to drive the snowmobile. Kid 2, yeah, we're going to ride it up the slope. Me, no, you can't. You're not old enough or allowed to drive this. Get off now. Kid 2, but Mom said we could. Cue Karen storming over like she was leading a protest against common sense. Karen, why are you yelling at my babies? Me, are these your kids? They're trying to start the snowmobile. Karen, so what? I told them they could. Me, they're not old enough. They don't work here, and this isn't safe. Karen, stop being so rude and just teach them how to use it. Me, absolutely not. Karen's kids started wailing dramatically while Karen ramped up her Karenness. Karen, you've made my babies upset. Start the snowmobile for them now. At this point, I lost my patience. Using my army voice, thanks to compulsory military service, I firmly told them to get off the snowmobile. Karen froze in shock, clearly not used to anyone standing up to her. Karen, how dare you talk to me like that? I'm a paying customer. I have the right to use this snowmobile. Me, first off, you're on the wrong side of the fence and not even dressed for skiing. You've got no right to be here, let alone touch the snowmobile. Karen, shut up. I'm a paying customer. That means I can be here and my kids can ride the snowmobile. At this point, Karen climbed the fence to join her kids on the snowmobile. That's when I used a prearranged code with a former coworker, Mike, to call for backup from the owner. As we waited for reinforcements, Karen tried to claim she knew the owner and insisted I'd lose my job. Karen, you're gonna regret this. I know the owner. Me, perfect timing, because here he comes now. The owner, who's also my girlfriend's father, arrived just in time. Owner, what seems to be the problem here? Karen launched into a rant about how I was rude and refused to let her kids ride the snowmobile. Owner, first of all, you're not allowed on this side of the fence. Second, this is a staff vehicle, not a customer attraction. Karen, he's harassing me and my babies. I demand he's fired. Owner, really? Then let's check the camera footage. Karen paled and started backtracking. Karen, no need for that. Just fire him. Owner, oh, and by the way, I'll let my daughter know that her boyfriend is a terrible employee. That'll be an interesting dinner conversation tonight, don't you think? Karen's jaw dropped. Realizing she was fighting a losing battle, she resorted to the classic Karen exit strategy, threats, and Facebook reviews. Karen, you'll regret this. I'm leaving a terrible review. I'll call the police. I'll never come back here again. As she stormed off, the owner and I couldn't stop laughing. He even saved the security footage, calling it his Karen takedown trophy. Later, during lunch, I called my girlfriend to share the story, and she couldn't stop laughing either. Now every time I work, I secretly hope Karen shows up again so I can casually ask if she'd like to meet the owner one more time. The fact that she climbed a fence to argue about her rights makes it even more absurd. What's next, demanding her own heated snowcat to ferry her precious angels up the slopes? And let's not forget her classic Karen defense, I'm a paying customer. Yeah, Karen, that doesn't give you the right to commandeer a snowmobile and turn the ski center into your personal amusement park. And our second story. The Battle of the Salad Box, when entitlement meets petty brilliance. This tale happened today on the bus, and I'm still trying to figure out the mentality of this level of entitlement. The cast: me is your unlikely hero, EM, entitled mother, K, the poor kid who will eventually become a nice guy. I just finished work and had gone to the deli for a salad box. You pay for the size of the box and fill it with whatever you fancy. Today it was noodles, jackfruit, and a little salad. I grab the bus, settle on the front seat, and start munching on my lunch. EM and her kid got on at the next stop. I could immediately tell the kid was going to be an issue. He started complaining about how stupid people were for getting on the bus. His mom told him to hush and gave him sweets to calm him down. I tried to concentrate on my lunch when I felt tiny feet kicking the back of my chair. His mother said nothing. I tried to ignore it, but I'm physically disabled, and one of my symptoms is chronic pain, so every tiny kick felt more like a punch. I turned slightly and was about to say, "Please stop," when he sits up straight, pretending he wasn't doing anything. I went back to my lunch, and within a second, I felt a tap on my shoulder. "Kay, what's that?" he asked in the most innocent voice. Me: jackfruit? Kay: what's that? Me: it's a fruit that tastes like barbecue? Kay started tugging on his mom's arm, pestering if he could have some. EM: if you ask nicely. Kay: please. I sighed and passed him the little fork with a tiny bite. The boxes aren't the cheapest, and I could only afford the smallest one, about $3. So giving some up meant I'd miss out on a lot of my lunch. Kay: nice. Can I have more? EM: if you ask nicely. I was growing increasingly uncomfortable with this, but reluctantly gave him a bit more. I knew the whole interaction was going to feel off, but she seemed too relaxed about it. She wasn't really paying attention, buried in her phone. Kay: can I please have more? Me: sorry, sweetie, I've only got a little left and this is my lunch. EM: but he asked nicely. Me: I know, and I'm sorry, but I can't give you more. EM: that means you give him the box. It's what we teach him. If he asks nicely, he gets it. At this point, I couldn't even fathom her logic. She was teaching her child that being polite automatically meant taking whatever you want from others. I just couldn't abide by it. Then, just as I thought she'd let it go, the kid starts kicking my chair again. I grip my teeth, but my patience is wearing thin. He starts pestering again. Kay: can we go to a cafe? EM seemed confused by this sudden request. She was about to speak to me when she blinked and spoke softly to Kay. EM: what? No, we're going home. Kay: but I want to go to a cafe. Cafe, cafe, cafe. EM: why do you want to go to a cafe? Kay: so I can have a lolly. EM: but cafes don't do lollies. I can get you a lolly without going to a cafe. This kid has totally forgotten about my lunchbox and is now obsessing over a lolly. Meanwhile, his mother's indulging him while I'm getting more and more confused. I think that's it. He's forgotten about me, but nope, there's more. Kay: but I'm hungry now. Can't we get off and go to a cafe? EM: no, we're going home. Kay: well, I'm hungry, Mummy. Then another tap on my shoulder. I sigh heavily. Me: yes? EM: don't you think you've had enough of that? You can give the rest to Kay. Kay: yes, please. EM: see, he said please. Now I had a moment of brilliance, one I wasn't often known for. I had enough of this. Me: okay, kid, I'm gonna have what I want, and when I'm full, I'll give you the rest. Fair? Kay nods eagerly, eyes lighting up. I begin eating slowly, deliberately facing him with each bite, taking a big mouthful after big mouthful until the box is nearly empty. I leave only a small amount of salad. I then lick the fork clean and put it inside the box, handing it over to him. His face dropped as he stared into the empty box. Me: you said it was fair that I eat what I want. Well, I don't want the rest. The rest of the bus passengers started giggling and giving odd stares at both Kay and his mom. She yanked him off the bus, hissing at him as she stormed out. EM: come on, we'll go to a cafe. I know it was petty, but honestly, I was pretty pleased with myself. Teaching a child that if they ask nicely, they'll get whatever they want is never going to work out well. You taught a lesson without being rude, disrespectful, or harming the child. I'd have looked on Google Maps for the more expensive restaurants in the area and told the kid how great the desserts at them would be. But he asked nicely for a dessert at Le Restaurant Ridiculement Cher. Where I live, a French name's a clue for an expensive restaurant. And our last story. Karen and the Electric Revenge. I'm an electrician living in a regular neighborhood where people supposedly respect each other. Recently, I installed a charging station under my carport to power my Nissan Leaf. It's a private charger, but my neighbor Karen, a rude, self-absorbed woman, quickly decided that since it was in an open space, it was free for public use. At first, I didn't pay much attention. I noticed someone occasionally plugging in, but I wasn't too concerned. But then the electricity usage became suspiciously high. One day, I walked outside and caught her red-handed boldly plugging her Tesla into my charger before casually walking back home. I called out to her, "Karen, what the hell? This is my charger. Are you serious?" She turned around, crossed her arms, and clicked her tongue arrogantly. "Oh, stop whining. What's the big deal? It's just a few kilowatts. You're an electrician, for crying out loud. You won't go broke." I clenched my teeth. "I pay for that electricity, Karen. You didn't even ask." She scoffed and waved me off. "Ugh, you're such a bore. If you don't want people using it, just put a damn password on it." Well, since she suggested it, instead of arguing, I decided to teach her a lesson. I installed a hidden controller inside the charger. If you didn't press a secret button, the power would cut off after 2 minutes. The next day, Karen confidently plugged in her Tesla and went home expecting a full charge by morning. Hours later, her furious scream echoed through the neighborhood. "What the hell? Why didn't this damn thing charge?" She unplugged the cable and plugged it back in, convinced it would work this time. But of course, 2 minutes later, the power cut off again. The next morning, Karen was late for work. It was glorious. Naturally, she didn't take it too well. "You B-turd! You're shutting off my charge on purpose!" she screamed over the fence. "I was on a night shift at work, Karen," I shrugged. I had, of course, seen everything on my security cameras. "Oh, sure, all automated, huh? This is a crime. I'm calling the police. My son-in-law's a cop, you know." "Call the fire department too, Karen. It's my charger." A few days later, I overheard Karen whining to her cop son-in-law during a family dinner. "That jerk is sabotaging my car. Is that even legal?" Without looking up from his plate, the officer casually replied, "You're using his private charger without permission. If he sues you for stealing electricity, you'll get fined." Karen blinked in disbelief, then shut up with a furious scowl. Since that day, she never touched my charger again. Moral of the story, if you try to take advantage of people, eventually you'll find yourself unplugged from their goodwill and possibly from your own power source. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.